Hey y'all, it's Cactus Jan here. I know it's been a while since my last video, but honestly, in the interim, there hasn't been a whole lot to make videos about. But now we've gotten some pretty significant updates recently, especially with regards to balance. So I'm actually not going to be going over any 1v1 stuff today, although I can say lots of stuff about that. What I'm going to be showing you today is a Juggernaut build. You may notice that the video quality is worse than some of my other videos that I've made. That is because I want to show y'all what it's like at base speed, which means that I have all the settings at low to make it go as fast as possible. So, without further ado, here's the build. So, it looks kind of weird because Frenzy is on level 6 and Reroot is on level 8, but that's necessary because I need the points for Toxic Grenade and for Annihilation. These are the most important skills by far because this gives you a free 300 or so damage regardless of the opponent's defense plus whatever damage you deal initially with this thing. And because I'm a focus 6 build, the primary damage is pretty good. So one thing to note about this build is that it is significantly more risky than Bounty Hunter because you don't have Bloodlust. You do have more defense. This goes up significantly, and you have mineral armor to boost defense. So both of those are significantly higher than Blood Mage or Bounty Hunter, but you're not going to be regenning health passively. So you have to be a little bit careful with more powerful NPCs. You definitely have to watch your HP. That is why I have health booster armor. So this would be a good time to go over the cores. So I'm using Infinity Power Strike on my primary. This is because for certain NPC combinations, you want a good extra damage move on turn 5 because this build can kill some NPC combinations in 5 turns, believe it or not. We're going back to early Omega days here where you could kill Juggernaut NPCs in 5 turns. So, and because of how much Toxic Grenade and Annihilation cost, having a no energy cost strike like this is very useful, even though it does cost HP. So this is something you don't want to use when you're low on HP, obviously. And it's not going to be great against real players because I think it still does have that bug where it gives you 50% rage. But this is good against NPCs as a way to deal extra damage on turn 5. Um, so for stats, you want plus 64 and plus 30. That's for, obviously, you want annihilation damage, you want robot damage. This gives you a bunch of damage for your Augs as well as improving Toxic Grenade. For gun, I have Azrael's Will on this. You don't have to. You can use pretty much anything you want. You can use Throne Shot, you can use Energy Shot, you can use pretty much whatever, honestly. Whatever you think would work best against real players, because that's pretty much the only time you're going to be using the active core for your gun, is against real players. For armor, I have Eternal Enhance and I have Health Booster. Like I said before, this is to help against NPCs that deal a lot of damage. It's just an extra heal for no energy, so you don't have to sacrifice your moveset in order to do that. Finally, I have Spread Fire on my Augs. I also have Improbability Gate loaded on here. This is kind of important, and if you don't have this, it could be a little bit tricky to deal with this. You're probably going to have to get a standalone core like that for Varium in some capacity because the Spread Fire Augs is pretty necessary for this build. A lot of stronger NPC combos cannot be killed in 6 or 7 turns if you do not have this. So this is kind of the part of the build that makes it a bit exclusive, but for anyone who has access to weapons like this, you're good to go. For bot, obviously, I want to use Dark Botanical Borg because this was buffed recently, and it deals even more damage against NPCs now. Not a whole lot, but it's still extra damage, and it helps. And it definitely makes some combinations possible in less turns than they normally would be. So, with all that being said, I'm just going to jump into a few Juggernaut battles here and show you this thing in action. Okay, so here we have Administrator 12 and Valerie. This might be a 5 round battle. It depends on what the damage values are, but I'll see. So first thing you want to do is you want to start out with Toxic Grenade on the stronger NPC. That will tick down over the next 3 turns. You want to use it immediately on turn 1. Then what you want to do is you want to use Spore Bombardment. This is so that you have it up on turn 6 if necessary. Also, you just deal a lot of damage to multiple NPCs. So here, I'm not sure. Let me see. So he'll go down to a little below 800. Yeah, so I'm not going to be able to kill him with Annihilation, so now I want to use Spread Fire. Now he's down to the point where I can one-shot him with Annihilation, but unfortunately I can no longer kill Valerie in 1 turn on turn 5, so this will be a 6 round battle. So like I said, it does just depend on damage values sometimes like that. So not a huge deal, but it just makes the battle 1 round longer than it normally would be. But still, 6 rounds for this combination isn't that bad. If you know what you're doing, you can go really fast with this. So yeah, that's one. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so here we have a pretty tough combination. These guys can deal a lot of damage, so this is one time where you're really going to have to watch your HP. So believe it or not, Electrohazard can be killed in 4 turns with this strategy, assuming that obviously he doesn't heal, which you want to avoid. That's a lucky block. That's good. That's going to save me a lot of damage. So Valestra, this is going to be a 6 round battle for sure. Maybe 7 if I have to heal, which it looks like I'm going to. So yeah, I'm going to use Health Booster there because her Bunker Buster can come down. That can deal a lot of damage with a crit. She can stun me. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong with Valestra as a top NPC. So now I want to use Spread Fire Augs. That has finished ticking. I'm pretty sure Annihilation can kill him here, but we shall see. And yes, it did. So I got a crit. I'm pretty sure it would have killed him anyway, but there's no real way to know. That's an unfortunate stun. I'm going to use Infinity Power Strike. And then I Rage with either Improbability Gate or Robot could kill her. So without the heal and without the stun, that's a 6 round battle. But unfortunately, you will have to heal sometimes because that's just how it goes. So already in the queue for the next one. So a couple more things that I should probably mention. So you may have noticed that I don't have a passive for my primary. That is because I'm planning on using War Commanders for this, because obviously for Juggernaut you want consistency. And so I'm just playing without it for now, just to show you what it's like. When the war is not up, you can use Tech Boost on it. That's fine. It makes it a little bit more effective, but it's not a huge difference, honestly. Against NPCs like Yeti Hulk, you might struggle just because he deals so much damage. Okay, this I think is going to be a 5 round battle because this guy is very weak. He hardly has any defenses. So I think I can do this one in 5 rounds. So this will be a good demonstration if this works out. It also helped that I did a crit on this guy with my Toxic Grenade. So he's going to be at a point where I can kill him. So I actually only want to use a normal strike on this guy, because using Infinity Power Strike might get him to the point where he heals. And I definitely do not want that. So yeah, damage is fine. One thing to note is that Annihilation gives you a ton of HP. So once you use that thing, you're pretty much good to go. So he does that. I'm pretty sure Improbability Gate just kills him here. No, it doesn't. That's unfortunate. Oh well. So that is an example of what happens when you get bad damage values. It just doesn't work out in your favor. But often that will be a 5 round combination right there. As you've probably picked up by now, this is not a small brain build. This is something that you have to kind of think about situationally, like what do I do in this situation? What do I do if I crit? What do I do if I get this specific NPC combination? What do I do if this NPC is on top? Stuff like that. So you have to be careful with what you do with this build. Hopefully that will also not make it a good candidate for botting, because I think this could be an extremely effective strategy when optimized. I still have not completely optimized the strategy for this. I'm still kind of figuring it out a little bit. But as you can see, it's pretty darn good. He dies on round 4. This guy hardly has any HP left. And again, damage values not working out in my favor on that one. Unfortunate. But that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. And it's not a huge time loss. Alright, I think this will be the last one for this video. This is a pretty good demonstration right here. This should be 6 rounds, because neither of these guys have too much HP. So, it's usually the same strategy every time. It tends to vary once you get to around round 4 or round 3 or round 4. Because that's when you want to start thinking about attacking the other NPC, how much HP the poison NPC has, stuff like that. You also need to consider that some NPCs have more defense than others, so that did about 800 damage on him, but it's going to do more than that on other NPCs. So obviously you can't kill him here. Oh, and that's another thing. If you use Frenzy like that, you can sometimes get stun offs and get easy wins. So that's an interesting strategy to consider as well. So I think I'm going to leave it here for now. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below, or you can contact me on Discord. If you want to try this build out yourself, if you can try it out yourself, go for it. Figure out strategies. If you have optimizations, let me know. Let others know, because this is a community effort. So I think that's going to be it for me. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.